And we're on.
You already know what it's time for.
First year's on recording. Oh, yeah.
Back on the beers.
Back on the beers.
We love to see it.
Classic Aussie style.
Yep, that's the way that we do things.
Talking about Aussie style, I think we might as well mention it. Go on our Instagram and see some wonderful shirts.
Oh, yeah. If you
Yeah.
want to see how the Aussies do fashion,
If you want to
check out the
see
Instagram,
the
definitely.
two best male models to ever come out of Tamworth, check our Instagram out because you're about to see us model two perfectly amazing shirts given to me by my sister for Christmas.
Yeah, and if you like them, let us know if you want some.
Let us know.
Just mention it.
Yeah, it's something we can consider. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
we'll definitely give it a consider. And
Anyway,
speaking of considering, we got there in the end. We got Bubble Boys. We got.
the
Good
intro.
evening, everyone, and welcome.
Forgot about it.
Yep,
Very
I was
nice.
gonna hit
Phineas
it.
and Ferb
Very nice.
podcast.
There's 365 days in a gap year, and Uni's gonna come and end it. So the once in a lifetime problem for us is to find a good way to spend it. Making a podcast.
So now that that's out of the way, and
Yes.
I've remembered that we have an intro to do for our podcast. Welcome back to the implications of Phineas and Ferb, where we discuss the implications of Phineas and Ferb. What have we got today?
A very thin veil of our actually Australian podcast.
Yeah, it's actually an Australian Outback podcast with a Phineas and Ferb facade thrown over the top of it. And as mentioned, we got some Bubble Boys. What else have we got?
We've got Isabella and the Temple of Sap.
Now, this is a formula that they will start to return to, but this is one of the
They
first
do it
times.
semi-regularly, yeah.
Yeah.
no,
This is one of the first times it happens, or even might be the first time it happened. I can't remember. And
I think we've done one before like
yeah.
this.
And I mean, the production quality of this show is not good enough to go back and check that sort of stuff. So, live, laugh, learn. If there has been one, write it into us. I'm just kidding. Don't. I will refuse to own up to my own mistakes.
Yeah, the sort of structure is that the first adventure happens
Mm.
and it just happens. And then in the second one, instead of doing a completely different adventure a different day, it's actually the same one, but
through
from someone else's perspective.
So in this case, it's Phineas and Ferb, and then it's Isabella's perspective.
And they do it all with all sorts, like doofs and sometimes Perrys now and then.
Yeah, it's a cool structure.
Yeah.
So my first note is they're just a couple of bubble boys.
Just bubble boys. They're
They're
just sitting
bubble boys
underneath
sitting in the
their
backyard.
tree and they're just blowing some bubbles.
Just sitting there with their bubbles, just bubbly boys.
You know what's an interesting fact
What?
about bubbles? Something I know and I'm pretty sure is correct. But again, the production quality of this podcast is not good enough to fact check. So if that's going for a job, anyone's welcome to do it. It wouldn't be too hard. Just a simple Google. Anyway, bubbles. What? So you know how if you have 3 points
Yeah.
on a grid,
Mm.
if you want to connect them, the best angle between the three lines that connects them is 120 degrees. We use this in engineering when you've got like
Yeah, 'cause
towers.
then
and-
it's equal, right?
yeah, it's got equal and it will give you the best distance. If you want to put 1 point in between 3 points, it's the one where it's 120 degrees from all of them.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's a 120-degree angle between
No,
each one.
that doesn't work for some maths questions. I just figured. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point I've realized, the reason I've said this, is if you get 3 bubbles and you put them together, if you put bubbles in it together, they will form 120 degree angle triangles sort of thing
Oh, that's
when
cool.
they're together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
'Cause they-
useful
they-
bit of information, huh?
Try and use the least amount of gap between all of them,
Yeah,
which you
that's
can do with bubbles.
that's very useless information. If there's one thing on this
Yes.
podcast we support, it's information that will actually be useful. Anyway, back to the children's cartoon.
Baljeet comes up with a swinging line, and more we keep watching, more and more I realize Baljeet is who I've become.
He's got so many of the zingers, hasn't
I've
he?
always thought I'd be a Phineas. No, it's Baljeet. He says, I remember relaxing. I remember it too, Baljeet.
Oh, I remember relaxing. Remember going outside. The good old days.
And there's a later joke when Doof is like, he's going to a gig. I'm like, remember gigs.
Remember? Yeah.
Remember watching live music.
Remember musicians? Now they're gone.
They're all dead.
They're all dead.
They ain't coming back. They've all passed on.
Every single one. So anyway, they're just in the yard blowing some bubbles, and they decide,
Mm.
I know what we're going to do today. We're going to make some big bubbles.
Because Buford has this weird lapse in character where he's
Yeah.
just like, I want to be a pixie and fly away in one. And they were like, that sounds great, minus the pixie part. And I'm like, okay, fair enough.
I'll take the pixie part. Like,
Yeah.
why not?
Each to their own. Like, if you you obviously can make the pixie part.
Why
not?
the hell
Give
not?
me some wings.
So Meanwhile, Candace is learning to drive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the interplay in this episode. They make a big bubble and they go floating around the city. Candace is driving around trying to find him with the mum in tow because she's in the passenger seat because he's on her L's.
Yep. I don't think they have L's in America.
Well,
I think they do a different system to us. But I do want to send mad respect out Candace's way because she still hasn't got her license. And one of the first episodes was her learning to drive. And I'm like,
relatable.
I'm relatable. 3 years.
Yeah. Cheers. This boy got his P's. Well done.
Woo.
I mean, it took him, I'll be honest,
3
a little
years.
bit too long. But, you know, he got there. And I'm proud. So I don't have many implications for this episode, to be honest.
No.
Apart from that Bajit has a hell of a schedule.
Baljit's schedule is to the second.
Mm.
Have you? I tried constructing a schedule. I say try because it was in like year 12 for study and school. The only bit that I got right was the 9 to 3 for school. The rest just didn't work.
You don't realize how much time you spend just chilling in between things because you also don't, you know, measure it.
That, or I'd be like, oh, I'll do this homework because I did some that day. And then you'd get there and you're like, actually, I've got 4 assessments due tomorrow.
Yeah.
I probably should do those
And also,
instead.
I'll do this homework.
That's about where you stopped.
That's where I stopped. So yeah, Bajit's got a hell of a schedule, and the boys make a bubble that can lift a bunch of.
Yeah, they
people.
say it's super
Now-
durable, but they're afraid of it getting poked.
And also, the durability isn't the bit I'm confused with. It's the density, right?
Yeah,
Because bubbles float because they are
very light.
very light. Now, if it's got the weight of a bunch of people in it, it would have to have lighter, like less dense air inside it, right?
To
To counteract it.
Yeah, like the bubble would have to be either minus matter or the air inside it, like helium.
Yeah, exactly. Now, my question.
Mm.
Later in the episode, they hyperventilate to
No.
float back away, right?
Back up.
Mm.
Before, density issue, if it is helium, they are dead. You cannot breathe helium. It's actually a very dangerous gas. You know when you do that head thing?
Yeah.
You breathe it in and then you've got a really high voice,
Mm.
which is fun. Don't do it a lot because you can just suffocate with helium.
Ouch.
Yeah. Anyway, there's that. So it's not helium.
It's not helium. Well, the thing I was going to bring up is if it was a less dense air,
Yes.
then that would actually justify both the flying
Mm.
and the hyperventilation thing.
No.
Because when they're breathing it in and out,
Mm.
they're, you know,
Oh.
wave the hand, they're making it less dense by converting it to
And yeah,
CO2.
because I was going to say the same amount of air, like,
But no, they're deoxidizing their blood or some shit, you know?
that
I don't know.
they are
tired.
converting oxygen to carbon dioxide, but like your actual weight isn't going to make a difference because the weight is either going to go back into them.
Yeah.
But that would still make you heavier.
No.
If you're in a bubble,
Yeah.
for starters, you're not. But if you were and you started hyperventilating, your bubble is not getting bigger.
Yeah. It's not getting bigger, it's not getting lighter.
It's just flat. And also you'd suffocate.
Yep.
It's like in Rick and Morty. He has the bubble-inator. I don't think it's called the bubble-inator.
It's called a bubble-inator for consistency of branding.
No, it's the bubble gun from Rick and Morty. When he sends them away, he shoots them, and then they fly off to Jerry's house, and then they struggle to breathe as they come out because they can't breathe in it.
We haven't done a Rick and Morty, Phineas and Ferb crossover implication
No,
in a
because we're waiting to get Dan, Jeff, the other Dan, and the other person who does Rick and Morty in one room and making them do a crossover.
while. Hell yeah.
'Cause-
I'm down for that.
It's going to be so good.
The live action movie we can have is just randomly intercut with scenes from Rick and Morty with no explanation. Not scenes that are connected, just
And
they're in
scenes that people have already seen,
Yeah.
like other episodes.
it's just scenes from season 1. Only season 1. People are like, why is this new content? It's like, why is it there in the first place, you know?
Yep.
Whatever. So yeah, that's actually all I've got for that.
I
first
do
episode.
want to mention before we move on, 2 things to do with Doof.
Mhm.
He wants
I completely forgot Doof's story, I'm
he
sorry.
wants to become more popular.
Yep. And he's like, what's the best way to become more popular?
You
Of
got
course.
to mix the 2 most popular things in the world.
What are the most popular things in the world?
Now, there's a whole lot of things you could say. There's the disgusting amount of like people would probably say TikTok at this point,
Mhm.
and that would hurt me.
Yep. There's pop.
There's pop,
There is
Dream, Minecraft manhunts.
Yep. There is.
I like those.
I enjoy those
They're
quite a bit. Yeah.
very good.
There's, what are some things that people pretty universally like?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Animal Crossing.
There
No
we
one
are.
dislikes Animal Crossing.
So there's like at least 8 things we've
Yep.
come up on the top of
We've
our
done
head
great.
that would have been much better. And keep in mind we live in Tamworth. Because
I don't know if you know, but Tamworth is the country music capital of Australia.
and he picks country music and western music.
Now, firstly, those are the same thing.
Yeah.
And secondly,
No, they're horrible.
absolutely not.
They're the least popular
As
things.
a musician, I believe
As
that
a
as
musician.
a musician,
You want to say that
firstly,
again to try
I'm
and
as
convince yourself?
ouch. As a musician, I
Yeah.
try to keep an open mind to
Yep.
different types of music. There's an advantage to almost all of them.
You got to respect people's different
Gotta
like
respect people's
arts
different
and their
tastes.
creative outlets.
A lot of the time, like even musicians like doing metal and stuff are doing the most complicated musical things like
Yeah,
weird
there's-
time signatures and all of this stuff. There is merit in every single form of music, from experimental art music to pop music to a 4-chord song to deathcore
Heavy
metal or
metal,
whatever.
yeah.
But there is no merit in country music. And I say that with authority.
Every single genre except country music.
Now listen,
We've
listen.
lived it. It's
I have the instinct here to say, if you like country music, write into us and let us know, but I actually don't want to hear from you.
no.
Stay away.
Dolly Parton,
Dolly Parton's the exception. Fucking love
absolutely
Dolly.
exceptional. Honest music from beginning to end. Beautiful, absolute bangers. Get fucked, everyone else.
Get out of here. Yeah. Not a
We
not a
have
country music person.
statues of Dusty. What's his name?
Slim Dusty.
Slim Dusty. That's it.
Just in our town.
In our town, and you know what you do you know what you do when you're really pissed drunk? You sit on it in an inappropriate way.
Mm-hmm. That's the way it
That's
works.
how much respect we have for country music.
You've sat on the Slim Dusty statue in a weird way before. I've done it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah. Anyway, after you're beaten over the head with it enough years in a row, it removes all respect you have for
That
it.
being said, the Yodelinator.
Oh, now that's a useful hat.
That is a good hat.
It's a very good
For
hat.
starters, it's stylish. Like,
Oh,
it's not my sort of style, but, some people are into it. He puts it on, and his voice goes from whatever to
Beautiful.
smooth.
Hmm.
It's something that you kind of want to listen to if it wasn't followed with the rest of country stereotypes.
Yeah, and even then, the song from this episode is basically just the country song by Bo Burnham. It literally is.
That is a good song, though.
It's like yodel 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 baby. 'Cause you're listening to simple music and you're like stuff.
And
It's the same as the country song.
And they just buy it, because of
Yep.
course they do. It's a doof contraption.
Yeah, of course, it always
have to.
works. Yep.
And then Perry's just so unimpressed.
And Perry's just like, I can stop this.
He's just like, this entire thing he's sick of it.
He's tied up by streamers, so he can get out easy.
Yep. So
And
it knocks the head out.
not by streamers, the video streamers. Streamers as in the things that you hang.
He's
I don't know
tied
if
up
we-
by streamers on
Yeah,
Twitch.
It's Twitch streamers just came
Twitch
in and
streamers
tied
are
him
just
up.
holding Perry the Platypus.
Yeah. No, they because I don't know if they call them streamers in other places. Like we have all sorts of weird names for stuff in Australia,
Oh.
and every now and then you just
Party
find out.
ribbons.
Yeah, party ribbons. Because every now and then you find out that countries have like different names for things that you assumed were just universal.
Streamers.
Like I can't think of an example, but like I remember hearing one the other day, and I
Thongs
was like,
is the one
thongs. Yeah,
that
thongs.
everyone
Thongs
falls
would be the
upon.
obvious one. Yeah, we
Wear thongs all the time.
Yep, I was wearing thongs when I walked in the house.
We
today.
wear thongs as we drive.
Mhm.
Or jandals. Or flip-flops.
Flip flops.
Flip-flops. That's so
That's
dumb.
so much effort to say.
They're thongs.
Do you know how many more syllables flip flops is than thongs? Probably like one more. I don't know.
I don't know.
can't
I'm
really count.
Australian. I can't count.
We don't really do syllables in this country. We just kind of like
If it
draw
can,
it out.
If it can be shortened or drawled, you do.
100%.
G'day.
What?
Good day.
Yeah.
It's meant to be
Instead of
good
good
day.
day,
It's
it's
good
g'day.
day.
Yep. Instead
G'day.
of good morning, we go morning.
Morton.
Yep.
Morton.
Instead of designated driver, we go deso.
You're designated No, Deso.
Yeah.
I'm Deso tonight. Oh,
Instead
is
of
that why
out-
you can't have a tuies?
Chuck a word at us. Just send us a word. No other context. Why not? And we'll just shorten it in Australian speak.
And then also he's wearing Agent P underwear.
Yep.
And if we ever did merch, that's something I'd consider if
Oh,
Disney
100%.
didn't copyright strike us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're gonna get hit with a fat copyright strike one day, and it's gonna
Yeah,
derail the
actually
entire
gonna
podcast.
hurt.
Yeah.
It's like we're staying under the radar because no one listens, but then there'll be a point.
But you know what we're doing as soon as
Boom.
that copyright strike hits? Nick Cage movies, baby.
I want Nick Cage to copyright strike us because that means he's acknowledged our existence. Same with Disney.
100%. Yeah. I'll take an acknowledgement from Disney. That's them
Even if it is a subpoena.
a subpoena.
A subpoena.
That's basically just them saying that they believe that we're the official resource on Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, there's nothing more official than someone
Then we
you're
can start
suing.
selling official Disney Phineas and Ferb podcast t-shirts and
Oh, I can't
wait
wait.
to be shot out of existence by Disney snipers. Australian division.
Pew!
Anyway, you got
so-
anything for the next episode?
Yes, Isabella and the Temple of Sap. It sounds like something that you'd get for Indiana Jones, like
'Cause
Indiana Jones and the Temple
Temple
of Doom. It's not like that at all.
Yeah, no, and that's weird because I remember there being an episode
Yeah.
that's like an Indiana Jones episode.
There is a temple episode, and
Yep.
it's great because it has the longest Perry the Platypus theme song.
Oh, it
'cause he
does.
beats Doof in an entrance.
I remember
I
that.
know, it's such a good ep, and I can't wait till we hit it. Anyway, the synopsis of this, it's part 2 of part 1, and it just follows Isabella in her Phineas Land and also getting the sap that Phineas has asked for.
Yep. So to make that bubble from that earlier episode, and by earlier episode we mean this episode, they need to make it really strong. So they need some sticky sap from a sticky tree.
You've got a quote about the stickiest of saps.
Oh yeah. Stickiness is the most underrated of all of the nesses, and of all of the stickinesses, the sap of the Morocco nut tree is the stickiest, nessiest.
That says it up. That sums it up.
That's why they're looking for it.
Okay. I said that when they're talking, so she goes to the cubby house, and they're like, well, what are we going to do? And she's like, we're going to go see Phineas. And she's like, no, it's the Help Thy Neighbor patch. And like, I've already got 52. And she's like, no, we're going to see Phineas. And they're like, you just want an excuse to see Phineas. And she's just like, the only reason I live for. The reason I live for. And I'm like, well done, Isabella. Just
Raw line.
just own that shit. Just
yeah,
be
exactly.
like, yeah,
She's like, I'm
that's what I'm
obsessed
doing.
and I'm all over it.
And I'm
Whatever.
chief. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, what are you? It's my fireside girl trip. What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do? So they go over there. I do
You
want to...
gonna fire me? I'm already a fire. That was a bad fun, but you know, we live, laugh, learn.
That was very bad.
Mm.
Okay, there's a point where... So it happened in the previous episode, but doesn't mean much in the first
Oh
episode.
no! Before you do anything,
What?
when they're in that cubby house and
Mm.
Isabella drops that raw line and they're debating whether to go to Phineas or not, the scene opens with them saying, it opens cold open where she says, sesquipedalian.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think is how it's said. And
what
they're
does it
like,
mean?
it's the saying a word that no one else in the room knows patch.
You've currently
I know what
won,
it knows.
and I don't.
It
so
is.
You've won.
It is a long or multi-syllable word, or it's a long-winded explanation or description of something. So it means long in relation to words. So
Right.
it in itself
Is also...
is it's self-defining.
I
'cause
like
it is one.
I like at the high end of English when this is well before like base of English is just a mess of a mixture of like 4 different languages. But at the high end, there was just some clever people who decided to have fun.
Yeah.
And then it's like that word that means what's the
Phobia of long words?
that one? And then because it's a very long word.
Mm.
What's the one that means things the same backwards and forwards?
Palindrome.
A palindrome.
Palindrome isn't a palindrome.
Palindrome is not a palindrome, but if you type palindrome backwards and search up the meaning, there is another word that means a word when it is spelt backwards means another word.
That's pretty good.
So
isn't
that
it?
word, when it's spelt backwards, is a palindrome.
That's palindrome. Spell it backwards. Immortal lap.
Yeah, and it means
It describes a word that reads as another word when spelled backwards. Is it a real word? Oh, that's cute. Let's see. It's a fanciful invention, not yet a word commonly used or found
Oh.
in dictionaries.
well, that just means people haven't used it enough. It's like when I tried to make a word in high school.
What word you make?
Dumbuff.
That you invented that?
I did make that up, and you actually caught it on because you forgot the bit where I made it up and you kept using it.
You are 100% correct. I forgot that.
It's such a good word, though. It means someone who's such an idiot, they don't realize they're an idiot. You can swap moron out for that word as well, Lachlan. I was
I
going to
feel like the fact that I forgot that you
I
were the one
made
who
that
were
up.
invented it
and told you that.
is kind of it's a bit of a cyclical prophecy, isn't it?
A self-fulfilling prophecy.
Anyway, back to the Phineas and Ferb.
Mm.
The Fireside Girls go on their adventure. They go up to the old abandoned amusement park.
Oh, no, I want to get back to the thing I was talking
Oh
about
yeah, no,
before.
go.
Okay, so in the previous episode, Perry the Platypus is in an elevator and so is Pinky. And that doesn't mean anything because it's like, oh, it's just an elevator. Pinky probably was by their house and went in. But it does mean something because in the next episode, we actually see Pinky enter a different elevator, one at the Cubby house.
Mhm.
It's linked to the Flynn's house.
That's the same elevator. How does that work?
Not normally.
You've
That's for
seen
sure.
Harry Potter
It's
in
like
the 7th Harry Potter movie? How the elevators all be going sideways and up and down and everywhere?
that.
It's one of those.
It just whoop and then goes cross down to the house.
And I like how they
Picks
give each
Perry
other.
up.
I love how they give each other a little hat tip, a little bit of.
Yeah, well, when you
camaraderie
can't
between
speak
agents.
and it's weird to go "Arr," and woof, woof.
Exactly like that, or like this. 'Cause we got it on a soundboard.
Oh, where's okay?
Okay.
Okay. That's what they're saying is they tip their hats.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, the Fireside Girls go up, get the sap. It's a pretty standard sort of adventure. They do a jump in a minivan across like roller coaster thingy, and then use sashes to swing down and steal the. plane
Isabel
off the top of
jumps
the thing.
out,
Yep, jumps
grabs
out
it
of
by herself,
moving
flings
vehicle.
back in.
But you know that's pretty standard
That's-
Fireside Girl behavior.
Pretty normal for Isabella. I said she's a bit of a beast to do that.
I literally got Isabella as a beast as one of my notes.
I say grabs tree, what a beast.
I like how we're so in sync with them.
I like to point out, though, the roller coaster wasn't high enough to do that. So in physics, if you have like a U-bend or whatever, if you drop something at one end, it can only go as high as the other end. Otherwise, the converse. When you
Oh, so
conserve
like-
something.
So like if you have a wave,
Conservation of energy law breaks, which you can't.
yeah. So if you have a wave and you start at the top of it, you can only go up to the amplitude of
Yeah.
the top of it.
And she
Yeah, when you go
goes
down.
not only, but she goes like further than it, and also jumps out and does all sorts of flippy crap. But
Yeah, doesn't work.
oh well,
But
You know.
and honestly, I'm a bit offended by that because this is a show that's paid so much attention to physics so far. So,
they've cared so much, and now they're just throwing it all away.
come on, this show can't pay attention to physics because then what would our job be?
Exactly, and you can't let physics get in the way of a good story.
100%.
You know what the best X-Men movie is?
Which one?
The one where they decided, and it happened multiple times, but they did it better one other time, that all the other X-Men films aren't existing.
What, First Class?
Well, no, see, that was a prequel. They could kind of get away with it. Days of Future Past.
Oh, Days of Future Past is so good. No, but the thing is, First Class is not only an amazing movie, but also it's the one that kind of retconned all that sort of stuff.
No, but like...
Because it was kind of always on a new timeline.
Yeah, but First Class did come after Last Stand, but it is set before. So, timeline-wise, Last Stand was the last film that happened before Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
In Last Stand, Xavier dies.
Mm.
Magneto loses his powers, but might get them back later.
Mm.
Jean Grey's a thing, but blows up because Wolverine.
Mm.
In Days of Future Past,
Just ignore all
just ignore that. Xavier's alive. He's in a wheelchair, so even if he swapped his consciousness with
I'm
his...
supposed to be the Marvel expert, but I do not care about these movies at all.
I did this with Mum. I'm like, Mum, we should watch all the X-Men movies. And she's like, well, there's nothing
Why
else.
would you put
So
yourself through that?
every night we watched a new one. And we watched them in bad order. Doesn't matter. It doesn't make any sense anyway. Some of them are horrendous.
Oh, yeah.
But it's disgusting what they did to the timeline. But that's all right,
The
because the
fact
best
that-
one was the one where they were like, no, we'll write our own.
It's honestly a miracle that most movies even get made, you know? Because sometimes, like, I look at the X-Men franchise and I look at whatever the hell DC has been doing, and I'm like, it's a miracle that we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe, isn't it? That they're even mediocre is just
It's just exceptional.
exceptional, yeah.
Okay. She always goes to Phineas Land. Just want
Mm-hmm.
to poke that out. In Phineas Land, Phineas is a centaur. Sure. Why not?
Each to their own, I
Each
guess.
to their own. I ain't gonna judge.
Yep.
I like there's some small jokes a bit where there's a gate to the park and she smashes through the side of it because it's a classic joke.
Yep. There's an obvious entrance, but they smash through the wall instead.
Right
Joke.
next to it. Yeah.
Easy. Yeah.
It's a good one.
It's a classic. Can't go wrong.
I laughed at that.
There's a great quote from Linda when Candace is driving. Candace goes,
Mm-hmm.
"See, am I doing well or what?" And Linda goes, "Well, what?"
Well, or what? You're doing the or what part. That's for sure.
The Fireside Girls also sing their anthem.
Yes. And it's not very long.
Yeah,
it's
the
short.
Fireside Girls song, and it's not too terribly long. Beautiful.
I love that. That's
It's
a
just
good
short
end
and
line.
succinct. Can you imagine if the Australian national anthem had taken that approach? You
Yeah.
get halfway through the first verse, and it goes, and it's not a very long anthem.
That'd be good. They could
'Cause-
skip the bit where we say our boundless plains to share for those who come across the seas.
Yeah, because
bit that we
that's
just-
dated badly,
I
hasn't
know.
it?
It's really dated. They were like, these guys are coming across the seas on really dingy boats. Oh, sorry.
Boundless planes to share. Asterisk if you're the same color.
Yeah, as long as you speak English.
Yeah. Which I don't get it. Like our
It
biggest
was literally in the anthem.
this is a little bit of a political moment, and I'm sorry if
We
this
literally
alienates
have
the viewers.
a huge country.
But
Put
we
them in
have
here.
the biggest country. Like we've got so much space.
And not
The
many
two
people.
things that we need to do are we need to chill out and start letting people use that space, and we need to start using that space to make
Solar
renewable
panels.
energy. Yeah. Because we could be a solar farm and hydroelectricity superpower of the world, and we could accept so many migrants in trouble and all of that sort of stuff, and we would be the most epic country ever because we'd have all of these people working in the economy
And not the coronavirus.
yada yada, and not the coronavirus because the country's doing great. And we already do that with international students, but we don't do it with people that actually need help, which is a bit fucked. And we could do all this sort of stuff, and then we're just like, nah, coal,
Yeah, nah, coal and also... have you
racism.
s-
Yeah.
have you seen those people? They're not us. Like, they're completely different.
I mean, they would be the same. Like we care about people when they need help, but honestly, his skin is a different color to mine, so my hands are tied.
I'm sorry. I just
my
can't
hands
do
are tied.
Did you know he came from another country?
Shit, bro.
Just can't have that.
Wait, which country? Let me check my list. Okay, so was it Britain?
No.
Was it Ireland?
No.
Get the fuck out of here.
Was it America? No.
No,
it doesn't matter.
I'd appreciate if they took more of a stance on letting Americans in, to be
That-
honest.
that-
Anyway, there's a little bit of politics.
See, Australian podcast.
At the end, after they've gotten the plant, they land in the van and then they go like tearing down the road. And I just wrote, pretty sure Isabella doesn't have a driver's license.
Yep, and she isn't even doing the Phineas and
She
Ferb
is
thing.
not
where,
even fussed.
where you get the remote control or anything like that.
Yep, no, she's literally driving.
Candace wanted to be the first person to get a license with her friends. If she counts Isabella as a friend, she's already failed.
Yep, because
Isabella's
Isabella
got it.
doesn't have a license. She's got one better. She's got her driving a car screaming down a highway patch.
It's not legally a license, but if she shows you that badge, you ain't waking up in the morning.
That's
so-
that's the patch that she was threatening to with in Candace Against the movie. She's like, see this patch? Pray you never find out what it does. It's the driving down the highway thing. She was threatening to just do a hit and run on dude.
The policemen don't know what's coming.
Yep. And turns out that was my last implication. So
Perfect.
we are good to go. Let's do some letters.
Yes.
It's the viewers writing in segment of the show.
Woo!
So firstly, we got a message on Instagram.
I love me some Instagram.
We got a message from Larissa.
Larissa, okay.
She wrote, "Hey guys, I have two theories about the backyard beach I'd like your thoughts on."
Oh, okay. Shit.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
we got
realize
some-
this is the sort of letter we're getting
Yep.
into. Let me readjust
Look at
on
this.
my
he's,
chair.
He's sitting up straight. Holy shit,
Yeah,
he's committed.
this is hard.
So, theories on the backyard beach. One,
Mm-hmm.
the backyard beach could be connected to Lake Nose. Now, she
I
says-
didn't see a nose, though.
yeah, she says, like, maybe the backyard beach turned into Lake Nose. The flaw with this theory is that they clearly drive to Lake Nose in the episode, but the beach is in their backyard. Maybe Lake Nose's existence suggests some environmental conditions in the tri-state area that allow lake beaches.
Okay.
Not an awful theory, but
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with it because there's a lot of conditions that are required to make Lake Nose, and it seems like it's a fair way away.
I'm not sure. See, Mount Rushmore was something that we pegged to be close to Danville because
Yeah.
it's in driving distance. And we also said Lake Nose could have been just offcuts from Mount Rushmore because, as everyone knows in America, like that didn't go right the first time, and they accidentally shaped a nose and it was way too large. So they just left it and moved on.
Yep.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
That's what I would do.
Yeah.
It's what they did. So Mount Nose is obviously close to Mount Rushmore, and so that means so is Danville.
Yep.
And so that could mean that they transferred some of Lank Nose into the backyard beach.
Could work.
I
But
think-
I much like the second theory.
Oh, there's a second theory.
Yeah, she said, number 2,
Hmm.
when the backyard beach dried up, they put a giant mall there. And the boys made a massive piece of land available to Danville, so they used it to build a mall. And that's where the mall came.
The mall, like the last episode
mall, the really big one.
State-sized mall.
Yeah.
Well, they do need
Because
a
they
lot
would-
of space, and
and
they
that-
did clear a lot of space in
Oh, yeah.
our current theory
Mhm.
of just wiping out half of America.
Yep. That's a lot. That's more than a state, baby.
That's more than a state. Like you could
Put a new mall on there. Chuck up Danville's economy. Hell yeah. Because if there's one thing I know about America, it's they're all about them stonks.
They're getting a lot of stonks with the mall that big.
Mm.
Yeah, actually, I kind of like that one
Yeah.
because
So,
that explains
You know
what
what?
happened.
I'm chucking it in my canon.
Oh,
It's made it to my head
is,
canon.
is that your
the
canon?
mall space
Mhm.
is where the backyard beach space was. That's,
Used
that's
to
where
be.
the mall is. Yeah.
And
And that's
if-
why everything's so new and pristine and robot-y and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
and
isn't
it could also, if you ever canonized in your canon, that the beach itself was actually like a portal. Like when you step
Yeah.
past the fence, you go to a different area.
And that would explain how there's a state-sized mall in a small, like,
In
a rural town like...
in a
Well,
town.
rural town. It's got skyscrapers.
How
but
you
it's,
how you fit
it's-
a state-sized mall in a town
Yeah, is with portals.
with a portal.
Yeah.
So I like that. That's very cool.
She then says, I've also got 2 backhanded compliments.
Oh yes,
This is my favourite.
This
I've
is
been
perfect,
listening to
fam.
the podcast with my brother recently, and he just shook his head and said, "You're a bunch of idiots," while laughing super hard.
Nice.
That's what we're
I
going
like it.
for.
See, it's good because we laughing a
Because he
bunch.
was laughing.
So it's a compliment, but we are just a bunch of idiots in a hot booth sweating.
We 100% we are just a couple of idiots. We're just 2 Australian dickheads. We have got no experience. We've only got mics because I'm doing music. You should stream my music. My
Yes,
music's all right.
a musician.
Yeah, I'm a
I'm
musician. Let's put
winking.
it wink,
Hard wink. I
But
hope
we-
you heard it.
wink.
Oh.
We got the laugh, and that's what matters.
Mm.
And then she says, for me, it's a great podcast about absolutely random tangential things with the occasional Phineas and Ferb nonsense. Once again, what we're going for. Beautiful
I
backhanded
might just put that in our description.
100%. That's a worthy description
That's
of the pod.
outstanding.
100%. And then she says, but in all seriousness, I enjoy the podcast a lot. It always throws me off when you say H and Z, like H and Z, not H and Z, like we do.
That
over
was
here
a
in the US.
hard sentence to say.
It was
I'm
it-
giving you credit there because you
I
just had
only
to
screwed
say
up one.
H. Yeah, just had to say A and H. Well, what are the
Yeah,
Z
so
and H?
H and Z.
Yep.
And she was like, it always screws me up when you say H and Z as H and Z and not H and Z.
Z's weird.
Yeah,
Z's
how-
definitely right.
The Australian alphabet's just in general a weird
It's shorter.
place. Like, we don't say, technically we say W, but
W.
every time someone's ever said it, I've heard them say W.
W.
Yeah, because
W.
as you know, it's Australian culture. We shorten everything.
I do want to just a quick story about me.
Oh yeah, go for it.
My old drama teacher, that's what they said, but I think she just helped me with speech things. When I was younger, Mrs. Healiger, yeah.
She clearly didn't help that much with speech things.
Yeah, no. Mum and her would always get upset with me whenever I pronounced H because they say it's H. It starts with an A. And I'm like, in what backwards world does a letter start with a different letter?
Exactly. The
So-
letters should start with the letter that they are.
I don't care if it sounds better or if that's right. H. It is indeed H.
H, because it starts with a H.
And it's a H sound. It's not a H sound. Go away. It's H.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Thank you for roasting our accents once again.
There was a
Appreciate it.
solid minute of it, so you can enjoy a good laugh there.
Yep. She also says, I'm also enjoying learning about Australian wildlife. Sounds like a crazy place over there. Merry
It's
Christmas.
absolutely insane.
It's insane. And honestly, we got to get out of this booth soon because I got to get the kangaroo before it gets restless so I
Yeah.
can ride it home.
And the amount of sweating we do will just attract those lizards, those
Exactly.
massive iguanas that will
Yeah,
come in.
and we
they'll
don't
just
we don't
eat
want
us.
Komodo dragons coming in. So
Yeah,
gotta get
no,
out soon.
they're
Yep.
such a pain to get out of the house. They're
Yeah,
like
I know.
ants. They just get everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Larissa, for writing
Thank
in.
you.
She is from, I think she had a nationality in her. Oh, no, she's American, obviously. Yeah. And
Everyone's American.
yeah. So thank you for writing in, Larissa. I appreciate it.
Perfect. Now we had someone
We
from
had-
the Gmail.
Yes, we did. Let me scroll down and find it. This is from Maria.
Maria.
She says, "Hello, enjoying watching the podcast. I was wondering if you were going to do an episode talking about the Second Dimension movie." And we had this one a lot. We've gotten this a couple
Eventually.
times.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I haven't.
We don't want to. We've got 2 movies, so we don't want to burn through them
Yeah.
too quick.
And I haven't watched the Second Dimension before. I think I have, but I've completely forgotten it. And I've read some nice things about it. So I'm
Not nice things.
Yes. So I'm a little worried before we tackle it.
I'm sorry. What not nice things could you possibly say about a
one
movie
comment that
if Phineas
sticked
and
out
Ferb?
in my head was that in the first 10 minutes of Candace Against the Universe, there was more music in the entirety of the Second Dimension.
Oh, that is a little.
So
worrying.
I have a feeling that the Second Dimension, the Disney executives got their hands on it a bit too much.
I
But
defend that. But also,
we will definitely
it's
do
Phineas
it.
and Ferb. Come on.
Like,
The worst Phineas and Ferb is still the best of any other show.
yeah, exactly. So I'm not too worried, but I do want to do Star Wars first because I just want you to watch Star Wars first.
Yeah, the Star Wars.
So
show, yeah.
it is coming.
She also says, "I'm new to email. Don't mention my email on the podcast if you end up reading it there."
I'm never reading anyone's email on this pod.
She also says, "P.S. You should use the soundboard more."
That's true. And we still haven't used this yet. I had 2 spots that we were going to use it, and I completely forgot to use them both. And
So we're just gonna hit it a couple times. just,
Yep. So
Why not?
I was going to mention the reason why I was going to do Nemesis was the underpants thing, and then also
because
when
he
we
wears his nemesis.
Yep. And then with Pinky, she's got a nemesis,
yeah,
and I was going
yeah. But, you
to
know,
she's not cute, but that's
no one ever replaced Doof. Come on. And yeah, it's so loud. I love it.
yeah, it is very loud in our ears.
So she says, double PS, you should rewatch the Song of Cows in the Mall and see the part where they stop to eat at the food court and pay very close attention to the menu sign that shows up when they leave the food court.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Um,
Keep that in mind. Get a bit of a rewatch in there happening.
and she also sent another email, which was a backhanded compliment, where she says,
Perfect.
"You guys are the best podcast about Phineas and Ferb out of the very few podcasts there are about it." And I'm like,
Yes, there it is.
There
That's
it is.
good. That's good. It was a good one lying there.
now, I'd like to know, who the hell is the other Phineas and Ferb podcast?
I've
There
looked
is
them
one?
up. I found one.
Really? What's it called?
It's got a banging name.
Oh no, is it a better name than
It's
ours?
got a better name,
Oh no.
and I'm afraid to say it
What
because
is it?
I'm disappointed I didn't think of it.
What is it?
Podcast without a cool acronym.
Powcar. Oh my god, that's brilliant.
I know. They're geniuses.
So we're handing the keys to the podcast over those guys. If you are the people who make Powcar, write into us.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Firstly, thank
You're
you for listening. We're
obviously
honoured that the
geniuses.
best Phineas and Ferb podcast would listen to the second best Phineas and Ferb podcast. And if you
Thank
like
you.
this one, 100% it's yours. You can do the rest of it.
Please.
Easy
that's-
peasy. That is all of ours. Was there an email from you?
No, there was one on Reddit though, but my phone is currently on the charge because it's
So-
terrible.
I will open Reddit.
So we have a DM. Is that what you call it
Yep.
on Reddit?
Yeah, it'll still be a DM.
Drama Geek 1022.
Cool name.
He said, "Hey, I just started listening to your podcast and I'm loving it, and just wanted to say keep up the good work."
Thank you so much,
See,
dude.
this is the sort of motivation I've wanted from a father.
We live for validation
it's
from
good
strangers
stuff.
on the internet. Thank you so much.
He says he's binged all of Phineas and Ferb, and he looked it up for any
Dang.
fan casts, which is what we are.
Mhm.
And yours seemed really interesting.
Thank you so much.
So
Appreciate it.
that's kind of, I think that could kind of a backhanded compliment, a fan cast that's kind of really interesting.
Yeah, well, it's like I finished the series and I want a little bit more, so I looked to be on you. Kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
and
yeah.
that's good. And I think that's most of our audience.
Yep.
And you're doing a great job.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Or lady, I don't know who you are.
Yeah, neither do we. But
We know that you like drama though, and good on you.
good on you for liking drama.
Good on you.
Support that creative business because no one else is.
So yeah, thank you for
Writing in.
Thank you for writing in. Thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing you. How are you doing? Are you
I'm
all
doing
right?
good. How are
I was
you?
talking to listeners. Fuck you. I don't care how you're doing.
But you literally gestured to me with your hand and said,
I
"How
was
are
gesturing
you?"
in the general area, and then I happened to catch your eye. We're in the booth. There's not much else to look at.
Look at the. Oh,
How are you doing?
that was
Amorphous
that
blob
was
of podcast.
that was
in
even
the corner. Yep.
creepier.
Yeah,
staring
exactly.
That hard at the wall.
Exactly. How are
I
you
take your
doing?
point of view. We need to get a better spot to record. This is uncomfortable. This is making me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very sweaty in here. It's
Spoiler
so warm.
alert, it's less than 5 feet apart, so yeah.
I mean,
You know.
it's no hot tub, but I think it still counts.
I think it counts from my huge amounts of
Anyway,
Vine watching.
thank you for coming. I know what we've done today.
The implications of Phineas and Ferb. Listen to it whenever you can.